What's up, everybody? My name is Nick.
I'm Mike.
We are the Bros Murph, and this is the best of BGG.
2024 has begun.
That's right. It's the very beginning of 2024.
It's the new year. As always, the new year brings new excitement about board games upcoming, anticipation is starting to build. We're reflecting on the year that just passed.
Yeah.
A lot going on. So we are going to talk about the hottest games, the things that people have been talking about the most. But first, let's get some Board Game Geek news. So we'd love to remind you, of course, that they have BGG at Sea. We have 2 cruises going on in 2024. You can literally cruise and play board games and have snacks and see cool things all at the same time. So there's gonna be the first one is gonna be a cruise to the Mediterranean over the summer going into July. That's gonna be super fun. That stops in like Spain, France, Italy. Gonna be a beautiful time. And in the fall, there's actually another cruise going up the eastern seaboard during the fall and the end of September. So the fall folios will be going on, starting off in New Jersey and going up to Boston, Portland, Maine, up into Nova Scotia and Halifax, things up in Canada. So that'll be a really kind of scenic, beautiful time and stuff. So if you enjoy cruises and board games, these things are literally put together. So you can check out BGG at Sea to find out information about what kind of boats are on, the dates, everything, room availability, and all that jazz. And you can ask many questions and stuff. So do check out BGG at Sea. 2 cruises this year.
We also want to point out the bgg.com/support page. This is a place where you become a patron. You can support BGG throughout the year. They just got done with their annual support drive, which they always do, because BGG, on top of having advertising and things like that, is also community supported because the site is free and will always be free. And so if you like BGG and you use it a lot, I'm on BGG literally every single day, consider becoming a patron and consider giving maybe a cup of coffee a month or something like that. That's what they always say, like give $3 to $5 a month. It's a cup of coffee. Most people can do that. But you can go to bgg.com/support to support BGG because it is a free service. And let's be honest, our board gaming lives would be significantly worse without it. And so check out bgg.com/support if you want to get today. So that was a little bit of Board Game Geek news, but now let's get down to the table and talk about the hottest games of the month. Alrighty, so we're gonna be talking about the 10 hottest games of the month. These are games that were all over the hotness, stayed on the hotness, bounced around.
People talking about
People are talking about it, clicking on it. Let's go ahead and get number 10. Number 10 is probably the one I'm most excited about on this list.
Ooh, baby!
Skara Brae.
This is Skara Brae. This is the new
Garphill game.
Ancient anthology game that they're doing. They have several in there, like Hadrian's
I guess they're
Wall,
doing 2
Legacy
of this series.
They're doing 2 more in the series this year and stuff. So Skara Brae is in the time of
like ancient Scotland, basically.
Ancient Scotland stuff. What's the term I'm looking for? That era doesn't matter.
I don't remember either.
Old timey stuff.
Yeah.
And you kind of like doing villages. And I think maybe like earthworks and stuff. It's just kind of ancient living.
Yeah.
Up there in Scotland and stuff. So I'm super excited just because Garphill games for us personally I always make interesting things or always
they did like a state of the publisher address they do every year. They kind of talk about what's coming out. They talked about this, and I'm really, really excited for it. It looks cool. The art's obviously great, but it's Garphill games. I don't really care what they're doing in the game. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna play it.
It's gonna be really interesting. Yeah. So there's not a ton of information about it, but other than that, it's been announced. But I got people excited.
Just the cover, but that's enough.
Yeah, that's enough right there. So that's Skara Brae number 10.
By the way, there's no footage or pictures of Skara Brae or Tiny Epic Game of Thrones, so I just didn't give you anything because there's nothing. Yeah, so I watched the live stream. They didn't show any
No, it's just
games.
the cover.
So I'm
really.
just like,
I'll just show I'll probably do a scroll of the cover.
Maybe, yeah, but it's like there's nothing. So just know that.
That's all good.
Number 9 was our favorite game of the year. Ultimately, this is The White Castle.
Spoiler
This
alert.
has been getting around to people. People really, it seems to be not the only ones who are super into this game.
Yeah, it's. I think more and more people are getting their hands on it, all the time as the game just kind of becomes more widely available. And with that, there seems seemingly a lot of folks who really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I have seen some people kind of bounce off it, as any game will be, but this for us just really works because it's all about seeking that efficiency and really trying to be clever in how you manage your resources to be able to pull off these turns where you actually are chaining together. There's kind of 3 main actions in the game, and trying to chain together multiple of those main actions back to back to like really stretch out the kind of game that you have, because you only have 9 for sure turns in the game of drafting those dice. So like, what can I get out of that? And that's just a really fun puzzle
it's the best.
to kind of mull over and over again.
Yeah, it's agonizing and just really, really fun. We really like this game a lot. It's great. It's got a great size. It's not super huge, which is nice. It's very, very good. The White Castle is a banger.
We're big fans.
Yeah, it's very, very good. That was number 9. Let's go ahead and get number 8. Number 8 is a big old game called Hegemony. Lead your class to victory is the full name.
Things popped back up to the hotness, I think, as people are doing their end of the year roundups. I think this is for a lot of folks their top game of the year, or very
big
highly
economic
regarded.
Euro games. This one is up there. This is basically a game where every
sort of society.
every
put into.
And it's done like they did a lot of research and talked to like a lot of like society, economics people, and so basically to make sure this is very accurate to how like society and government things work, because each player is taking on essentially a class. There's like the working class, kind of like the middle class, I think the capitalist class, and then someone can play the state itself. And then every one of those classes works differently. The capitalist class has a lot of money. The working class does not have a lot of money.
The working class has a ton of struggles. That's strange.
And so you're basically trying to fulfill your objectives and trying to win the game. Basically trying to make your class, make their station better, more or less is what it is.
Lead your people
and
to
you're
prosper.
like making deals with different people and all this different kind of stuff. I know people really, really love this game. And apparently it's very, very accurate to how like society and stuff generally works in terms of like how these things play off each other and all these things. Apparently it's like a masterpiece. I am very curious about this. I would like to try this at least once, just to see what it's all about.
Exactly. I think it'd be worth trying. Like, will that be the kind of game for us? I have no idea, but it seems really interesting and just something very different, and that's worth talking about. And that's why I think it keeps kind of popping back up on the hotness, even though it's been announced and talked about and kind of been out there for a little while now.
Yeah. So Hegemony's number 8. People seem to be really, really into it. I'm very curious about it. Let's go to get number 7.
Number 7 is Dune Imperium. Of course, has been a...
It's number 7 on the top 100 now. I didn't realize it was quite so high.
It's done very well for itself.
Wow. Good for Dune Imperium.
Dune Imperium, of course, has been, since it first came out, first got announced, it started popping up on the hotness, and it hasn't ever left. Now it's just released on Steam, the digital version of the game. So I'm sure I've been playing it a lot.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's great. And I think that's gotten, a little bit more... not that it's needed any more interest, but I think just more people can play it than ever now as a result of that. So it's right here on the hotness still. It just is seemingly evergreen on the hotness, along with one other game that is already coming in a little bit. But yeah, so
it's everything Dune. Worker placement goodness, people love it. People love this game.
It's a good one, man. It's a good one.
That's right. Like it. All right, so that's Dune Imperium number 7. Let's get number 6. Okay, number 6 is Dune Imperium Uprising.
More Dune.
They were together the whole time. Dune Imperium Uprising, which is a new standalone Dune Imperium game that I think is pretty similar to Dune Imperium, although I know you can now ride the sandworms. You can ride Shei Hulud, which is awesome.
That's all I ever wanted.
Pretty cool.
To do.
And then also now you can play in teams.
You can play a team game with it, with Dune Imperium Uprising. Seemingly, I've been looking into it. It seems to be very much in every way Dune Imperium. So it might be the whole thing where it's like, if you're getting into Dune now, and I'm pretty sure all the expansion stuff are compatible with this game. So it's like, if you're getting Dune, just get Uprising moving forward. So I'm curious if we're going to see that kind of just become the only game that's around.
We'll see.
But yeah, so it's more Dune, more kind of ways to play, and new things to explore in the Duneverse.
Yeah, it's people love it. It's still Dune, and so people were loving it. So yeah, they were all over the hotness together the whole time. So I was like, all right, we're going back to back, I guess. And so Dune Imperium Uprising is number 6. Let's go ahead and get number 5. Number 5 is usually a staple, at least around the top 10, and this is Ark Nova. Although Ark Nova's been climbing again, I think people are probably playing it over the holidays. People probably have the expansion now.
Yeah, I think,
I mean, Ark Nova, it's going to be the most played game of the month. When we talk about that, I'll tell you right now. People love Ark Nova. It's on BGA, so people are playing it a ton. The expansion is out. We've played the expansion, and we really like it a lot.
Yep.
It adds some more cards.
It's a pretty simple edition. It doesn't change a ton.
It's kind of a more stuff edition, but it's very, very cool. Arc Nova is just one of the most popular games in the last number of years, honestly. It's just very, very good. We love it to death. I'm very curious when we do our top 100 sometime in the future here, where it's going to land for me, because I really, really like Arc Nova a lot.
It's going to be up there, man.
It's very,
really
very good.
It's really fun.
So Arc Nova, you know it, you love it, probably. Somebody out there probably hate it. It's number 5. It's just so good. Building a zoo, it's wonderful.
Number 4, it's a game called Faraway.
Yeah.
Or Faraway. This is a kind of a tableau building card game with like just kind of cool art.
I really like the art,
It, but I enjoy looking at it. This is a game where you're gonna, I think, have like 3 cards in your hand. You're gonna be playing them down into a tableau, I think, of 8 cards.
Yeah, I think
and you're
by the
gonna,
end of the game it's 8.
You're gonna kind of play them, you know, 1 card and the next card to the right of it, and so on. And then eventually you're gonna kind of walk back through your cards and score them in reverse order that you played them. So the last card you played will be the first one to score. So I think it's gonna be one of those things of like laying out your path in such a way that when you bring it on back going the other direction, it's very advantageous for you, which I love games that kind of make you think in those, I'm thinking of what I'm doing now, but I'm also thinking of later, and that has to be, you have to think in 2 directions at once.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
And it seems really, really cool. Yeah, it seems like pretty similar in terms of gameplay, and you're getting new cards. You always have a hand of 3, and you're only playing 1, and you're building, again, 8 cards of the game, and you're kind of going through these, like, I think the areas that you visited and stuff like that, but then you score them the other way, which is just very cool. I don't know, I didn't really know much about this game, but it's all over the hotness, and so
I think that
and I think there's multiple versions of the game as well.
At least multiple covers,
right? And so
how they differ. But
it seems really cool, though. I like games like that where you're kind of doing what you're focusing on what you're doing now, but you're also planning ahead for when you're eventually going to score these things. It seems really, really cool. So Faraway, it just seems awesome, and I'm very, very curious to check it out more, because it seems great, and people are talking about it. So that's number 4, Faraway. Let's go ahead and get number 3. Number 3 is going to be Vale for Eternity. This game, I have a decent amount of games out there now where there's kind of like this fantasy world, and you're kind of Pokemoning in terms of you're taming.
We call it what it is. There's Pokemon adjacent stuff.
Yeah, you know, and that's
cool monsters and
I don't think this plays anything like Pokemon, but it's like you're
no.
like taming these creatures. There's like dragons, which are like the most valuable, and like you're drafting these cards, selling cards, again, like taming the creatures, playing these actions, and trying to score points and stuff.
Yeah, so I think, it's kind of card based, and you're drafting cards and things. And that's the idea. You're trying to like turn them into your minions. Nature's working in beautiful order, and we're coming in and mucking about.
Yeah, you know, like it's where art imitates life. You know.
Yeah, a little bit. So, but the Vale of Eternity. It's
got great art. It looks really, really nice.
The art's super cool. I mean, that's one thing I like about all these games is the creature creation and stuff is always like really vibrant and beautiful and interesting. So it's another one kind of in that line where we've just noticed like a little mini trend.
Yeah,
I won't call it a trend yet, but a mini trend of kind of going into fantastical creatures.
Yeah, there's kind of there's a number of games now who are kind of like this, kind of like ish Pokemon adjacent. I don't know how much this one is like that. We obviously haven't played it, but it's like man, this is a lot of there's a bunch of these creatures. You're trying to tame them and get them on your team, kind of thing. So so all right,
why not?
That is Vale of Eternity number 3. Let's go at number 2. Number 2 is Heat. Pedal to the metal.
Man, this game is good. I'll tell you what I've done, because I'm playing on Board Game Arena right now.
What?
And one thing I've done is started putting in, there's like these cards, you get like 3 upgrade cards, and those things are super cool.
Yeah?
Super cool. This is a racing game.
Yes, it is.
Where you are playing out cards to determine what gear you're in. If you're playing 3 cards, I'm in 3rd gear, for example. You're between gears 1 and 4. And you're going to be playing out cards that will have values on them that you'll add together from 3rd gear. You have to play 3 cards, and whatever the sum total of those cards are, that's how many spaces you're going to move forward.
Yeah.
Which is all well and good if you're on a straightaway. You want to be going as fast as possible. But you're going to come around to some pretty tight turns at a certain point. And if you have 5 movement and you're going through a turn where the turn limit is 2, you are going to have 3 kind of extra movement that you have to pay using the heat from your engine. You have to kind of power through that turn. And your engine can hold heat cards. And if you have 3 to pay to your discard pile, you're all good. But if you cannot pay that heat, you will spin out. It's really bad when that happens. You get these stress cards and things like that. And you're kind of trying to manage your card play as you go. And then as that heat now is out of your engine in your card stack, you need to eventually get that heat back in your engine out of your hand. And that's going to usually come in the form of being in lower gear. 2nd and 1st gear allows you to basically cool down and put more heat in your engine. So it's a great kind of management game. And we, for the most part, have only played the base map, base game with no extra rules, but there are all sorts of modules and
it's got a lot in that box.
Weather and fans and these upgrade cards, which I, for example, have a like 3 speed card, but it has a cooldown symbol on it. So I can be in a high gear, but maybe still do some cooldown because it's nice, like smooth driving, even like a nice even engine. So it gives you ways that we all now have similar, but with the exceptions, different decks that you draft out, and that makes the game already go from here, which is quite good, to way up here.
Yeah, it's
very cool.
It's very, very good. It's been climbing the top 100. It's very, very good. Heat rocks, and it's number 2. Let's go and get number 1. Number 1, I think, was kind of a shock to everyone. This is Tiny Epic Game of Thrones.
I cannot think that anyone saw this coming. I genuinely can't. Like, the show has been over for quite a while.
I know, it feels kind of a little bit late, but hey, I mean, people still love Game of Thrones, right? People still love the books and the shows, and the House of Dragons movie show is still out. So yeah, this is Tiny Epic Game of Thrones.
It's a pretty epic world to put into a tiny box.
But that's kind of like the appeal of Tiny Epic games in a lot of ways, is that they feel a lot of times like these somewhat bigger games, but they're in very small packages. Well, but sometimes they still have pretty big table prints. Like Tiny Epic Quest is pretty large.
Sprawls all over the place,
But apparently it's not the same, but according to some of the stuff we read, like in the forums and stuff, the dice is somewhat similar to Tiny Epic Galaxies, which people like a lot. And then I'm curious of how apparently the way they do like the politicking and all that kind of stuff is very, very interesting. They haven't really divulged. There's not much information about the game.
Very little so far.
But I'm very curious of how they're going to deal with all of the backstabbing and the politicking and all that.
There must be some sort of negotiation phase where you can maybe with the resources you can make deals and stuff and then betray each other. I'm sure that's going to be the basis for it.
But yeah, it was a bit of a shock. Tiny Epic Game of Thrones. I was like, all right, why not? We haven't done an IP one of these. Let's go for it.
I like it. So that's all. There'll be much more information soon on that, but literally it's just sort of the cover for now and people speculating. So there'll be more on that. But Tiny Epic always does interesting stuff. And there's been so many games in that series, so it makes sense why this one made a splash.
Yeah, totally. All right, so that is the hotness. And so let's go ahead and talk about the 10 most played games of the month. People log their plays on BGG. You can too, and you should.
Please do.
And so, this one's kind of all over the place. The first, number 10, is Ticket to Ride Legacy Legends of the West, which has 5,514 plays.
I've heard of a lot of people playing this over the holidays. A lot of people played a lot of this. So
a lot of people probably played all the way through it.
Yeah, I think people are really getting after it, and I want to so bad.
Yeah, I really want to.
Next is Sky Team, which makes us happy. We love that game a lot. It's at 5,981 plays on Board Game Arena.
Indeed, and then Heat Pedal Metal, which we just talked about, which is going to be 6,573.
You got Marble Champions, a card game, which is actually kind of lower than
the lowest I've ever
seen
it.
Yeah, it's at 6,819 plays, so it's not too shabby.
It's doing just fine. Then we had Cascadia, which is at 6,873.
We got Exit the Game, the Advent Calendar, the Silent Storm. So again, in December, Cosmos does these Advent calendars. And so it makes sense that this will pop up because it's a December thing.
Yeah, right.
That's at 7,060 plays.
The funny thing about that one is there's only 473 people who logged it, but they logged it like 25 times.
I know, yeah. It's destined to come on this list.
It's crazy. Sea Salt and Paper is the next one on here with 7,926.
Next, you have a Wingspan. We're in very familiar territory here. A little lower than usual, though. Usually this one's number 2. That's at 8,451 plays.
Azul with 8,727.
I can see that being like a December gift for a lot of folks.
A perpetual. And it's easy to play with people, right?
Yeah, to go in. And number 1, as always, is Arc Nova at 12,367 plays.
Again,
once again,
4,000 and 5,000 more plays.
The leap is
insane.
Immense.
Yeah, it's so insane.
That's amazing.
The leap is wild. And so that is the top 10 most played games of the month. Again, make sure to log your plays on BGG. And let's go ahead and get into some Murph picks. My Murph pick is going to be this game of Talisman, which is posted by Katie B. This is so freaking cool. It's like a 20th anniversary edition, or a 20th anniversary of them playing it. And it's so cool. I love giant 3D versions of games like this, especially ones that have so much history and so much nostalgia for people. Like Talisman was one of our favorite games. While we don't have Talisman anymore, we don't play it anymore, I would love to play a version of it like this, where it's like everything's in it. It's big and crazy in 3D. It's just so, and I love this part of board gaming, which is like, we're gonna take this and crank it up, not to 11, but more like 15. And we're just gonna sit here for probably many hours and play through this crazy game of Talisman. We're gonna do it like once every couple of years, and it's gonna be one of the best board game experiences of our lives. So I appreciate KDB posting these because it made me think of these kinds of games and just being like, oh man, every once in a while doing something like that is just so much fun, and I love to see it. And this version of Talisman is nuts. And so I absolutely love it. KDB, thanks so much for posting it because it's just, this is so cool.
So my Murph pick is something that I've seen out there and I really enjoy. This is my little free board game library from Jeremy G who posted. There's these little things, this kind of phenomenon called like little free libraries where people put in their neighborhood just a little kind of giant bird box to put in books, and they're just free for neighbors to take. You can kind of take a book, leave a book thing. It's just a way to kind of exchange books and have it be all nice and free and easy. And Jeremy here retrofitted one of those, made it a little bit bigger to be able to fit board games into as just a like, hey, please, nerds, anyone, come join us in this great adventure called board gaming. And it's just for anyone in the community to enjoy. And that's got me inspired. I would love to do something like that in my community as well. I think it's super duper cool. This kind of phenomena in general is really neat. I think it's something that could possibly bring people together, and like, why not include board games? You see like actual city libraries and stuff have board games in them now sometimes. I think it's a really great thing to kind of bring folks together because it's a community-based activity that we do playing board games. So why not have it be a part of your community? I thought it was just super duper cool. It's adorable. I hope that that kind of thing catches on. It just made my heart really happy to see.
At the end of the video, we always like to talk about our favorite personal game of the month. In December, we got a decent amount of games played. What was your favorite one we played this month?
It was a good mix of new and old, but one that I was playing with a buddy on Board Game Arena, and we played like 3 or 4 games back to back, was Clans of Caledonia.
One of the best games ever made.
One of our top games of all time. One of the best games and most loved games of all time, period. It's in the top 100 of Board Game Geek after all.
It is.
It's so good. It's just so fun to try to stretch that dollar, get as many of those contracts done as possible, get pieces out on the board. It's just immensely satisfying, and it's just efficient. You know, you're searching that efficiency. So Clans of Caledonia still hits.
It's in my top 3 of all time.
Yeah, I played it a bunch this month.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited for the expansion. There's an expansion coming out. Yeah,
can't wait.
So yeah, love Clans of Caledonia. My favorite game was a game I wanted to get at Gen Con, but it sold out like immediately. Couldn't get it. Which is gonna be the Search for Lost Species. We're both big fans of the Search for Planet X, which is a deduction game where you're trying to find Planet X. In this case, you're trying to find some kind of lost species. I think in Papua New Guinea is where you are, and you're trying to find this lost species, and this is a deduction game where there's like these 3 or 4 animals, and they all have specific rules. Like this animal is always gonna be 1 or 2 spaces away from this animal. This animal will never be next to this animal, things like that. And then each game, which is app assisted, will have essentially more logic rules to it that are specific to that game, and you're trying to find the lost species by basically kind of like process of elimination. Like, could they be on this hex? No, because I know because of my deduction that this is going to be a couscous, one of the little marsupial kind of looking things. And then this over here is a python, so I know it can't be there. So you're deducing it down, trying to do it faster than anyone else. It's so much fun. I really enjoy it. I might like it more than even Search Planet X. I'm really excited to play it solo because I actually prefer Search Planet X solo.
It's great.
But it was very good. Lived up to the hype. I was so excited for it, and it lived up to it, which was very awesome.
I completely agree with that. Yeah, it's nice when a game you're super excited for and then you aren't disappointed in the least, and that game definitely qualified for that. So those are our favorite games this month that we personally played. What for you, new game, old game, whatever it is, what's your favorite thing that you played? Get that in the comments below. And until next time, everybody, I am Mike.
I'm Nick.
We are the Brothers Murph. That has been the best of Board Game Geek.
Bye, everybody.